City,
yes.
Remind us the proverb for today.
Yes, from the Republic of Tunisia. It's bordered by very many countries, Algeria, Libya, and, of course, the Mediterranean Sea. He sells the monkey and makes fun of the one who buys it.
He sells the monkey and makes fun of the one who buys it.
Why?
Wajinga
Bwana.
ndio wali wao.
Yes, na ndio wale waliobaki. Yes.
Okay. Now, talking about the monkey sellers and the monkey buyers, there's something that's happening in the country right now. For the last 3 weeks, it's like our attention was suddenly moved from other conversations that were happening in the country.
Yes.
Into one conversation. And the one conversation is, on the one hand, it's actually a very good conversation because it's making us get to understand our katiba.
Yes.
But then there's the political side of it. The move and the push to impeach the deputy president and the drama that comes with it. And all the, now stories starting to emerge. Oh, I was being poisoned in Kisumu. Oh, I was the one we were doing. Oh, people are fired. Oh, I was slapped at the airport. All those kind of things now are starting to come up. And now it becomes this kind of drama where we have focused our eyes and our attention on this drama. Before this drama started, the country was talking about other things. For example, it was at the beginning of October, and the transition from NHIF to the Social Health Authority was coming in. And there were what they described as teething problems. And people getting into these facilities are wondering, okay, so is it NHIF, is it SHA, is it SHIF? Who am I paying to? Am I paying? Do I need to go with a card? Am I going home? Do I need it? And all those conversations that were coming out to the public domain now suddenly were minimized. So do we know whether people are now happy and comfortable when they go to hospital? Are they accessing health services as they should have? Because now we have the Social Health Authority. Are all facilities actually allowing people to come in? You don't need a shift share, just come and give me your ID number, and I see you're already registered, so you're in level 4, you go on. Do you need to pay any amount of money when you go to your local dispensary? Is that what's happening? Is anybody who is going to be delivered of a baby at a local maternity actually getting the maternity services without paying a shilling? Because that is what should happen. Unless you've been referred from a local facility into a level 4 where then shift kicks in, you should go to your local dispensary that has a maternity, you get your baby, you go back home, selling zero paid. Zero. Is that what's happening? Do we know?
No.
We don't know. Okay. There have been all these conversations about, the private initiated proposal by Adani about JKIA. Is it working? Is it not? Then we moved there into energy. So we're seeing this energy, what they're thinking about it. Do we know what's happening there? We don't know. We're in October. Children are starting to sit their KPSEA exams next week, and they're sitting their KCSE exams this week into next month. We shall go into November. We shall then go into December. We shall come into January. The children who are currently in grade 8 will be going to grade 9. Junior secondary is domiciled in primary schools. We know that primary schools before using K844 had 8 classrooms, standard 1 to standard 8.
Yes.
Now there's a grade 9. That means that there's a need for an extra classroom. And then we'll have now the complete junior secondary, because the current kids who are doing KPSEA now in grade 6 will be joining junior secondary next year, grade 7. Our current 7s will be going into 8. Our current 8s will be doing 9. Okay? And our secondary schools will not admit Form 1s, because Form 1s, no more Form 1.
It doesn't exist.
All right? Do we have the extra classrooms in our primary schools, both public and private, to accommodate grade 8s next year? More than that, do we have teachers who will now be able to cover 3 classes of junior secondary? Do we have? Because that's an entire school. Junior secondary, grade 7, grade 8, grade 9. When the current 8s were in 7 last year, they went an entire term without teachers. They were just being taught by their primary school teachers. Fanyeni revision. as the government was employing. Those interns have served 1 year now. They've just applied for a job to become permanently employed and be absorbed. The same 46,000. Are those 46,000 teachers the ones who are going to teach 7, 8, and 9? Are they sufficient? Do our schools have enough teachers? Are these conversations that we are having right now in the country? No, we are not having these conversations in the country. We have had many, many cases of people who've just disappeared without a trace. They've been abducted, they've disappeared, there's this and the other. In terms of our national security, what's happening? Where are the people who have disappeared? Where are the people who have been reported as missing? Whether they were abducted or they just disappeared off the face of the earth. What's happening with that? Where are they? Are the families getting the answers that they need? We don't know. We are seeing an escalation of violence in Tana River County. Okay, community this has been told because of river flooding, you need to move from the banks of the river. We are moving you to another place. How is that being managed? Are we seeing an escalation of violence where 10 plus people have died in a conflict? Do we know? Do we know?
No, we don't. And this was.
Do we have answers about what happened that 21 children died in a school fire in a dormitory?
No.
Do we know what happened? So lest we forget, these are the issues that have been there in this country before Gachagua occupied the headlines.
You know, the thing that we seem to have acquired as part of our national ethos is our ability to forget. Something happens, it's in the headlines, and we remember it, and we are very engaged and we are very animated about it, and then something else comes along and we forget. It's like we seem to forget the things that are important in our lives. We seem to forget the things that are a priority in our lives, and we seem to go with the wind. If the wind seems to blow in the direction of something new, we follow it. It is right that people should be concerned about the leadership of the country. It is right that people should be concerned about what happens with the process of constitutionalization of this particular country. But it is not right when the process that is primarily and in a dominant manner political, it is not right that that should occupy our minds at the cost of everything else that is actually important. Because one of the things that you experience when you read a Kenyan paper every day are things which could directly be referred to as the mental health condition of this country. A body found in some place. Somebody has hacked someone to death. An altercation has arisen and someone has shot 3 people. A security officer has committed suicide. Everything that we read, and if there's an escalation of it, it means that the problems that we have are not decreasing, they are increasing. And why are they increasing? Should there not be a way in which we can be assured that these matters that keep coming to our attention are being addressed? Now, if we choose the path of forgetfulness because we find it is either too painful or too burdensome, then what we are saying is we, as individual citizens of this country, are running away from the responsibility that we have. And that responsibility is the responsibility of the sovereign, to understand that it is your right to be able not only to demand, but to ensure that that demand is met, and that the things that are afforded to you as a citizen of this country are actually delivered. That diversion moves you away from the delivery of these things which are essential to you and to members of your family and to every citizen of this country.
We forget so fast. There's a story on page 6 of the Standard today which says criticism mounts as MPs remain silent on matters affecting citizens. So Parliament is now on a short break after extending and having an extraordinary sitting on Friday, in which the main business appeared to have been the approval of the nomination of Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki as the next deputy president, and Parliament quickly they approved it. These are the issues that we're talking about that are affecting Kenyans. We haven't seen, for example, Parliament take a special sitting to discuss the crisis in our education sector. We have a crisis in our education sector.
We do.
It's a crisis.
We do.
Post-secondary, there's an issue of funding. How are we funding our post-secondary education, whether it's university or TVETs? In secondary, we have the issue of, all right, quality. So next year, we're not going to have Form 1s, all right? So the Form 2s, 3s, and 4s, as they transition out, and then the 8s go into 9, and the 9s start now going into senior secondary school, where they go into pathways. How clear are we on these pathways and how they shall move? How clear are we on the 9s and how they shall get into 9? All these issues, how much money are we spending on education, and are we getting a value for money? These are questions that have been raised by people so often, even members of parliament themselves. One of the reasons why they keep arguing on why they need to retain CDF is because we are the ones who are taking children of Kenya to school. It's because of CDF that children are getting bursaries. It's because of CDF that we're able to build schools. Are we getting value for our education? We are not. People have argued this very many times. Members of parliament know very well that there's been an issue about disappearing Kenyans. Kenyans who've just basically been kidnapped, they reappear, no questions asked, nothing. When you had Bob who came here, he had been kidnapped and abducted by people he doesn't know. He was kept in a room for 32 days, and he gave us this story here, and he was crying. An old man who is 47 years old, just sitting and recounting the ordeal and shedding tears, unable to speak, and telling us, I was picked up from a matatu in Kitengela, not in Kitengela, in Mlolongo. I was taken to a place I don't know. I was cuffed and blindfolded for 32 days. I came out, I was told those were 32 days. Nobody spoke to me in those days. Even since then, assuming that he was not picked up by Kenya security agencies, Kenya security agencies would have come to him and said, we'd like to record a statement with you. Please tell us what exactly happened. So we pieced together, who is this? Who is operating this abduction ring and cartel within the territory of the Republic of Kenya? Well, we, security agencies that are funded by taxpayers, are here. Nothing like that.
Nope.
Parliament itself has not even summoned Professor Kithure Kindiki and the IG of police to come and say, boss, what's happening to the citizens of Kenya?
This one has complained that they were abducted.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it. Yes, shed light on this.
We have heard of the very many people who have turned up dead.
Yes,
Tell us about it. There's an MCA who's gone missing, a member of the county assembly, picked up on Enterprise Road many days ago. Where is he? How far are you in pushing for this? What is happening? The promise of this administration was that there'd be no more abductions.
That had been the promise.
Yeah. So, lest we forget, we haven't moved in resolving all these issues.
You know, it appears as though when one looks at what's happening in this country, that the solution that is required is not only difficult but is unattainable. That is actually not true. We have very many things in this country that function and they run well. One of them is Parliament. Parliament functions. We know it functions because we see them making decisions, we see them meeting, and we see them taking recesses. So we know they're there. How else do we know they're there? Well, we've had an issue that has been in the headlines for the longest time, and that is the impeachment of the deputy president, and we've seen their involvement. And their role primarily is to look after the interests of the citizens who elected them. Delegated power.
Yeah.
But this delegated power in this country seems to have taken a completely new meaning. It is more like absolute power. It is delegated to you, but then you proceed to make decisions that suit you, not the people who actually elected you. And this is not only the norm. It looks like with every step that we seem to take, it's being entrenched so that it becomes solidified, and there is no other option other than what we have. Lest we forget, our constitution gave us a very, very clear indication of where we stand with regards, A, to our elected leaders, B, in relation to ourselves, C, in relation to the country. We, the citizens of this country, are the sovereign. And the complaints that we have are the complaints from the sovereign to those to whom they've delegated power. And they're saying, you are not serving us well, and we have given you the power to do precisely that. You are not serving us well, and yet we've given you the resources to do precisely that. You are mismanaging our resources, you're representing us badly, and we are having a bad time.
Thank you for the bricks. You applied the bricks right on time. We want to open the phone line 0719-012-600. That's 0719-012-600. What we'd like to do is have a conversation as a country. All right? This one, let's not even address it to the leaders. Let's just tell ourselves, lest we forget, what else are we dealing with as a country? Lest we forget, what issues are we addressing? There are many young Kenyans who have applied for IDs. They have not received an ID. Without an ID, they cannot open a bank account. Without an ID, there are so many things that they cannot do just because they don't have this identification document.
Yes.
And they've applied for it, right? Lest we forget, all those issues, we'd like to hear from you. What else are Kenyans likely to be forgetting and we should not forget? What should we keep out there as the main issues to discuss? Lest we, it happened, there were bodies were picked up, there was a lot of drama, they went. What's the story? Who are these women?
And why is it
Do they connect with the stories of people maybe who've been reported missing in police stations, reports anywhere? And
soon after that, how is it that there was a fire in that very same quarry?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
And then the story just died.
It just died. Did it just die, or did somebody purpose to ensure that it is dead? What is it?
Is there value for human life?
One has to ask that question.
We're at a point where the Nairobi City County government is saying, look, our mortuary is actually full. We have very many bodies that are brought to the city mortuary and they have not been claimed. They have actually issued a notice that please come and look at the bodies at city mortuary and identify these bodies. Failure to do that, the law says that after a certain time when bodies are unclaimed in the mortuary, then the authorities can then go ahead and bury them. City mortuary has said, and the city county government has said, we are going to start burying people next week. Who are these people who are in city mortuary?
Yes.
How can just human beings just go and lie in city mortuary and claim? How is it?
And yet,
is there no connection between a home where these people came from,
a place where they came
from, and now they're suddenly in a mortuary and they've been there for months? They've been unclaimed.
And yet, we have individuals who are looking for their loved ones and cannot find them.
Yeah.
And it's not as though the numbers are diminishing. No. We read, we hear of people who have lost loved ones and they have no idea where these people are.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it's not just, it doesn't mean that because their bodies are in city mortuary and they were brought there, they necessarily are from Nairobi.
No.
Because we have seen cases where somebody disappeared here and their body was found in another county.
Yes.
So it's possible that some of these bodies in city mortuary are actually for people who disappeared elsewhere.
People who may have left wherever it is that they are from came to Nairobi. Again, the same matter of looking for greener pastures. Something happened. Remember this story that we heard and we had of people whose families were looking for them and they ended up in Shakahola. Remember that story?
Yep.
Suddenly, there were so many people, and then that matter of Shakahola is still not resolved, is it? Have we exhumed all the bodies that are in that particular geographical location? The answer is no. Have we concluded that matter so that we can say this matter has actually been brought to a conclusion? No.
When you talk about this, in fact, somebody is pointing out here, John Mwangi is saying, all right, so we have a register of human beings in Kenya.
We do.
Right?
We do.
The National Registration Bureau. When you apply for an ID, you go to the National Registration Bureau. What do they take? They take your biometrics, your fingerprints. If the government has the fingerprints of everybody to whom they've issued an ID in this country, are we saying that the people at City Mortuary, the bodies that are lying there, have not been matched with any of the information we have at the National Registration Bureau? That there's no way of basically telling who this body is unless somebody comes to claim, I have lost someone, and then the thing is opened and you say, Niye huyu. That there's no other way the government can tell this is so-and-so who's lying here from the records that we have.
Simple question, and this can be asked at every level, whether it is through the MCAs or whether it is through the government officials who function at those levels of the county, the sub-county. How many people in this region have complained about their loved ones who they have no trace of,
Yes.
whose whereabouts they do not know? You start from there and you move along. They exist, and the numbers are not few. Yes.
Many. Lest you forget that the Senate is calling public participation on the 25th to look at the bill by Charargei, which is proposing to do what? Extend terms of members of parliament and the executive from 5 to 7. This is a matter that, in fact, the Senate has published. Let's hear your views on this because it has been brought to you. Let's hear other callers on the line. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Eric. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Who are we speaking to?
My name is Jerry.
Yes.
I'm calling you from Nairobi.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you wake up and you want to go back and sleep again. Because everything appears wrong. Healthcare is not working. Education is not working.
Yeah.
Security is not working. You are hearing of abductions, disappearances, bodies in sacks and quarries and God knows where else.
Mortuary.
Mortuary. For the first time, we were told that the mortuary is full. Can you even imagine that the mortuary is full? So what are we supposed to do? We stop dying or what? I mean, when the politics extremely high octane, every single day is politics, scandals. Then you're like, really, do you deserve all this? I'll be okay if probably out of 5, we have 3 things working, then we are struggling with 2.
Yeah.
But now it's everything is not working.
5 out of 5.
Yeah, do these leaders even, how do they even sleep? Are they okay? I mean, if I was like, I'm a father and everything in my house is in a shambles, the kids, the mother, the workers, everyone is complaining, I'll be very, very pained and worried.
Yeah. Hello. We hear you. Let's hear from the other one. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
Very well, thank you. Who are you speaking to?
Hello.
Hello, who are we speaking? Who are we speaking to?
Majanja.
Bajanja, please switch off your TV.
Now, I want to comment on this constitutional review.
Okay.
I want to comment on this issue of constitutional review. My point is that I've seen that bill, and my concern is that this piecemeal changing of the constitution is not right. I think there should be a committee or a commission put together to review how far this constitution has brought us and make clear adjustments with also the laws concerned. This piecemeal of changing the constitution is not right. Our members of parliament have an interest of their own and they are pushing their side. I recommend that a committee or a commission be set up to examine how far this constitution has worked so that everybody can submit their views and there can be a whole review of that constitution together with the concerned laws so that it all is looked at once.
Thank you for your view, Majanja.
That bill should be rejected. But I'm sorry that Wananchi don't know about it. I'm in civic education. I know Wananchi don't know. These guys will push this thing through without the knowledge of Wananchi.
Thank you. Thank you, Majanja. Hello, good morning. Let's hear from this other caller. Good morning. Hello. Not online. So many comments coming in terms of what is it that's happening. Ezra says, I'm a funeral professional. What I can say is that we don't have laws and protocols and procedures for establishing unknown bodies, unidentified bodies, unclaimed bodies, and the disposal of the bodies should be done by the national government. All right. So there's a lot that goes with the issue of the unclaimed bodies and all. And then there's also that other issue of the push in the Senate on that bill, constitutional amendment, of course, because it's looking at changing the structure of government, that will have to end up in a referendum. But you've seen what's happened before.
We have
seen the kind of thing that happened before. Were it not for the courts, we were going to have a referendum in 2022.
Yes, we were.
On very many things in the constitution.
Yes.
It had gone through parliament. I don't know what had happened. And then Junaid Mohammed, the now minority leader in the National Assembly, and Dennis Wairimu came out as the proposers. They were the Mutusas that time.
Mm-hmm.
They took the bill and said, we're the proposers of this bill. And they played the Mutusa role. And it was heading there to a referendum.
And the courts?
And then the court said, no, hold on. You can't go about it this way.
This isn't the way to go about it.
But Parliament, the National Assembly, and the Senate had passed it.
Yes, they had.
It was on its way to us. Let's hear from Ali in Mombasa. Ali, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you guys?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
First, thank you for your civic education you are doing. People are thinking you are doing a talk, but that is a great civic education. We cannot find it in anywhere else except the Situation Room.
Asante.
Secondly, I would say the letter and the spirit of the Constitution, or in one word, the administration of the Constitution and the laws of this country is one thing. That's the only statement I can give you. It is one thing. Thank you.
The letter and the spirit are one and the same.
How about the administration of the Constitution and the laws? That we cannot see it anywhere else.
Very good.
It's just the Constitution book that has been put into the shelf. It is not been followed.
Katiba ni katiba.
Katiba ni katiba, but we need to be people to katibarize ourselves. We are not katibarizing ourselves. Thank you.
Asante sana, Ali. Thank you very much for that contribution. Yeah, there's a lot that's happening. That, like you said, City, there. It's like we easily forget. And somebody said, actually, Kenyans. It's not that Kenyans forget. It's that Kenyans are dealing with so many things. I remember it. But they're
overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed. There's a lot that I'm dealing with. A lot. It's not that because now we are discussing Gachagua, I have forgotten that I need to take my child to school. It's not that now we are discussing this Charargei bill. I have forgotten that I have a patient who is going through treatment, long-term treatment for chronic illness. It's not that I've forgotten my needs and my pain points. I haven't. But then how do we make our leaders know that those are our pain points?
You know, the entire process of even understanding what our rights are and how it is we can actually realize those rights, it's a process that we are still undergoing. And there's a reliance we've had on people whom we have elected, and we have allowed them to accumulate power that when then exercised often works against our interests. So the process of getting to a point where we understand that it is not treasonous, neither is it wrong, neither is it criminal to hold anyone who is in leadership to account. That when you elect someone, they must come back to you periodically to inquire as to whether they are serving you well. And you must then brief them as to what it is that you want them to do on your behalf. Yesterday, when we had the senator for Kiambu County, one Mheshimiwa Gadangwa, there's something he said. And I latched onto it and I remembered. The decisions he made with regards to his support for the deputy president had to do with what his people told him, not what he thought. That is an example of a man who goes, asks his people, and then listens to what
he listened to the ground and so, Hapa, this is the way to go.
This is what my people want. And that's his job.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for your contributions, for the comments on social media. Fred Courier, yes, we see, and everybody else, Chris Maura, all the comments on YouTube and Facebook. We appreciate them, all the calls this morning.
This is the Situation Room. the only way to start your day.